Did you ever feel like your body is trying to tell you something? Did you know your body stores all your memories in different physical locations within your body? What would your left foot or your right shoulder tell you if you learned how to listen to them?
Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
Hello and welcome to Angelscapes, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith, your guide to living a soul-powered life. You are invited to join my Facebook group, Soul Power Living, where we can continue discussions that we started in these podcasts and more. So join me for a discussion in this episode about physical health through better physical movement. My guest, Dr. Deb Arthur, introduces movement and healing modalities in this episode. There's plenty of methods that she has up her sleeve, and I can't wait for her to share them. Dr. Arthur teaches people how to move better in their bodies and how to release and activate muscles that have been dormant for a while. She instructs people on listening to and trusting their bodies and understanding their energies and their capacity to expand into a healthier, more fluid way. So welcome, Deb. Oh, Dr. Arthur. You're Deb to me.
You just call me Deb.
I'm so glad to have you on this podcast.
Yeah,
I've
it's
been
great
wanting
to
to
be
do
here.
this for years. So you do have you're a doctor in what you do, MS and DPE. Just explain a little bit of your background.
So my doctorate is from Springfield College in
Okay.
Massachusetts, and that was what they called the doctorate back there. Doctoral program. Your degree was a doctorate in physical education. Now they've since expanded and they're calling it a PhD, but probably because a lot of students complain because nobody really knows what a DP is. But so I have a college degree, a graduate degree,
Yeah.
but I'm not a medical doctor.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Well,
But
yeah,
when you're a professor, I was a professor
yeah.
for a while, so you need to have your doctorate.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So understood, understood. And this you spent years just helping people with physical movement, studying physical movement. You have these things called Trager. Tell me a little bit about what.
So yeah, I went down the traditional route of athletics, being a competitive athlete, and um, went into to teaching, and then decided that I didn't want to be at the college level anymore. Didn't want to be in academia, I should say. I love my students, but I didn't want to be in academia anymore. So I went into the fitness world because I decided I wanted to work with people and their bodies. So I went into personal training, and what evolved out of that was also health coaching and just through that process. And in that mix also was I became a Reiki master. And I remember one day saying, okay, I went to school for all these degrees. I am a personal trainer and I am a Reiki master. Now what do I do? And after a while, it just made so much sense that it actually all went together really well.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
did.
teaching,
That's where we
coaching,
met with the
healing.
Reiki program. I think that was where we came together.
That is where we
Yeah,
met, yeah,
yeah.
because we
And
worked with the same teacher actually.
right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you actually have connected them very well, the energetics of your physical body. We've
Well,
worked together for a little bit. That was
yeah, yeah.
life-changing. It was great.
Yeah, and well, because I really, my perspective is that all that we are lives in this human body. Our soul, our emotions, our cognition, our thoughts, everything that we are is grounded on this planet in this physical body. And I feel like, in fitness, we talk about, push it, push it, push it, no pain, no gain. You would think that that would have shifted by now, but it still exists in the world of fitness.
Could you
We
talk
have,
about that a
and
little
then they
bit?
say,
Yeah.
well, take yoga. You know, it's which I think is great. I love yoga, but it's like yoga is this, oh, that's where you go do your mind body stuff. But over here you push it, push it, push it. And I just started to I saw a lot of people weren't really in that place of being ready to push it. They didn't really know their bodies. They didn't
Yeah,
understand how their bodies wanted to move. They were just trying to work out because that's what they were told to do. And I was always like, oh, I want to like bring you way back and start from the beginning and get you to really know your body and how it wants to move and
that's beautiful.
how your muscles activate
Yeah,
and it's our whole story lives in our body, right? So then it ends
yeah,
up not just being this simplistic one-dimensional being. You know, we have so many stories that have come into to form how we move and how we think about ourselves and how we think about the world. So, but I just believe everybody needs to know their body well, how it wants to move, and to have that ability to sense themselves completely 360
yeah,
degrees, head to toe, and learn to trust their bodies.
yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
then you can do anything you want. You know, hopefully your strength training is more mindful than what we promote in the world of fitness. But
yeah. We had a huge discussion where I had gone to a trainer. I'm sedentary. I work in front of a computer and I
yeah,
sometimes 12, especially
happens
when I
to.
was working the corporate. But it's worse now. I have a terrible boss when I work for myself. But long hours in the chair in front of the computer and or standing up or but not and I'm gonna go work out. I'm gonna go back in shape. And trainer and the trainer was saying, now you need to push. You need to push your this and do that back against the wall. Bend your knees. And I said I can't do it. And he goes,
Yeah.
push yourself and do it. So I got hurt and I was out for 6 months.
Oh dear, I'm so
And
sorry that
but
happened.
we did,
Yeah.
and we kind of talked about it way back when.
Yeah.
And you had me move, and this is what I found. What you were doing was fantastic. Was you had me move slowly and with just purpose, and you said pay attention to what your body tells you. And I was doing that and a memory popped up, a frustrated memory,
Yeah.
and you said, "Oh, that's where it is."
Yeah.
And we talked to that memory, we worked it through,
Yeah.
and whatever you were saying was very soothing, was very encouraging. And as I did that movement over and over again, I talked to that memory. Could you described it to me, you explained it to me, it was fantastic.
So, um, so what you're talking about is what I like to do with people. So I'm not a therapist. So I don't come to people and say, okay, tell me about your
Yeah,
emotions and
yeah,
then let's find them in your body. My take
yeah,
is let's get you into your body. And if something organically arises, then let's allow it, let's honor it, let's, speak to it. If you're
yeah,
very comfortable with that. I have to do that at different paces with different people. Sometimes I say to people, I want you to take this with you and take it to your therapist. So it's really depends on where
right.
people are. But the what happens is when we have those sadnesses or angers or trauma that live in our body, there's literally a physical constriction in our body. We know that our body is impacted by stress. That seems to be what science is very comfortable about talking about. Stress creates tension in muscle and fascia. Fascia is actually quite fascinating, but
Really?
we know so much more about it now than we used to. Well, fascia actually it's basically connective tissue that surrounds our entire body. It's a layer under our skin. It surrounds every muscle, bone,
So
tendon.
fascia is not muscle, fascia is
Fascia is not
tissue.
muscle, but fascia surrounds your muscle and it surrounds every muscle fiber, but it also surrounds your organs, your bones, and your tendons, your blood vessels, your pretty sure your nerves as well. And what's fascinating about fascia though is it has more sensory neurons than skin.
Really?
So when we talk about sensing inside your body, we literally have the ability to do that. That's
Wow.
that's where we get our information, our sensing information in our body, like how we're moving in space, what's happening inside our body. It allows that message to come up to our nervous system so we can process it. So if we're
Awesome.
not paying attention, here's our body giving us messages, depending on what the message is, whether it's a stress or a sadness. But if we're not paying attention to it and we just push it down, we're missing out on a great opportunity for healing, for
Mm,
releasing, right? And so
right.
it can become a physical tension as well as an emotional tension. They kind of get intertwined, don't they?
Mm,
They become one and the same. Did
yeah.
I answer your question? That's
Yeah. That's a
it.
beautiful explanation. I just wanted to give a story and have you explain exactly what, yeah, and I get that no therapy here. We're doing, but the,
I hold space. Yeah,
yeah, you hold
yeah.
space. And when you held space, for me, I already had a therapist,
Hmm.
but I was able to access something that I didn't know was a thing for me.
Right.
Because my body spoke clearly when I on purpose moved a certain way, which was getting myself back into shape. I was stretching the muscles that were frozen up, and yeah, but I didn't know about the fascia. That to me is
Yeah,
fascinating.
fascia is a part of this whole story as well. I mean, you can't really say, oh, I'm going to contract this part of my fascia, but you can work at contracting muscle.
Okay.
Fascia, is part of the equation, but, I usually am teaching people how to get into all the different muscles of their body to
Yeah.
create that sort of internal awareness,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Right.
360 awareness. But,
Understood.
but what you discovered was slowing down, being
Hmm.
intentional, and being mindful really helped
Yeah.
you out a lot. I think
Yeah.
sometimes people don't want to do that because they're afraid. And I always say, there's nothing wrong with you. Who was it that said this? Do you know who Orion? I don't know if it was Orion Mountain Dreamer. I don't know if you know who Orion is. She wrote The Invitation. I'm not sure if she was the one who said this, but we all think we're broken, and we have to remember we're not broken. We've
Oh,
had trauma.
yeah.
We have to come into alignment with things. We have to heal, but we're all very whole inside. It's just about coming into alignment
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
a lot of fear around it for sure.
Absolutely. We've been
Yeah.
taught a lot of fear. We've been taught all kinds of crazy stuff about our bodies. We talked
Oh,
about a little bit when we were working together about the messages that women get about their bodies, and then the
hmm,
message that men get about their bodies are
right.
they're two different messages. On
They
the other
are.
hand, some of the, they're both of them can be destructive.
Both of them can be very destructive, yes, for men too. Because men are supposed to be big and strong and want to do sports and want to be fit, want to be
Yeah.
powerful, and so a man that doesn't want to do that deals with a lot of cultural
Yeah.
biases, which is completely unfair, of course. But what you said, I mean, this is what's happening too, is that we have all these stories that we've grown up with that are
Right.
cultural, that are familial, that are experiential. And those stories become part of our patterns of movement as well as belief.
Yeah.
So when we talk about dealing with pain or creating more fluidity in the body, sometimes it's simpler and sometimes there's a little bit more that has to be understood,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely. And it takes layers and layers to get.
There's layers, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You talked a little bit about habits becoming our norm, and since we're socialized in certain ways how to see our bodies and how to work, we create certain habits, but we think those habits are this is how you do it. So let's
exactly.
talk about
Right.
habits.
And so I always say to people, we have habits of thought and we have habits of movement. And where I really gained even a better understanding of this was through the work of Moshe Feldenkrais. So I use his method with my students, his movements. I call them movement experiences. That's not what Feldenkrais people call it, but that's my interpretation of it. And what I do is I draw from, I've gone to workshops, I've read the books, there's a man who I subscribe to his website so I can draw from him. And I take pieces and I incorporate it with people because what happens is Moshe Feldenkrais figured out how do these movements that actually help people shift their nervous system and their body and shift how they're moving. And they're very slow, they're small, they're easy, and they can become bigger, but you start small and easy. So, but he was all about we all have habits of movement that become our norm, and then that norm doesn't always support us anymore, right? Because it
Hmm.
starts to create pain or
Yeah.
discomfort.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so his point was we need to move in ways, in mindful ways, so that we can shift those patterns and let our body do what's actually more natural for it
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
easier.
Yeah.
So,
It's, I think it's fascinating. I like the gentle movement. I just love this. I did want to just take a quick little break and tell people where they could get a hold of you. You can
okay.
read about Dr. Arthur. You can read about Deb on her website, theturquoisebody.com. I
Uh-huh.
love that. The turquoise body. It sounds lovely. And you can also email her at Deb, D-E-B, at theturquoisebody.com
Right.
and get on her email list. We're going to talk a little bit about how she's starting to teach things that probably you're up in Maine, so you'll be teaching
Mhm.
things locally in Maine, but you're also will be teaching things online. Is what?
Yeah, I'm creating some things.
Yeah.
I like to be with people. I feel like it's a different energy to be present with people. I do work with some people one-on-one on Zoom. So it is possible. And so I'm going to be working on that over the next couple of months about how I can do this as an online component as well, just for people that aren't in the area.
Yeah.
But you can
Yeah.
always come to Maine in the summer and vacation and come take a class with me.
I know. Do a retreat. I think you ought to do a week-long retreat or something like that, and we can all near the ocean.
Workshops,
Yeah,
yeah,
near the
yeah.
ocean, and
By the ocean, yeah, of course.
um, the, we talked a little bit about the body holds your story. What kind of stories does your body hold? Because you said trauma, we're not broken, but they're stories. So,
Absolutely, and they become our truth. They become what we know, correct? So um, it can be trauma. It can also be just cultural beliefs we grew up with. A lot of times, I think this happens to women where we think we have to be small.
mm,
And we don't want to be too loud. And it was interesting. I was working with this woman once, and I noticed when she walked, she kept her feet really close together, and she was having trouble with her balance. And I said, "Why don't we just separate your feet a little when you're walking?" And she was
nice.
like, "Wow, this is so much easier." But she realized, in our
Yeah, yeah,
process, that she
yeah.
was really trying to keep herself kind
Small.
of in.
Yeah.
There's also that part, we don't want to swing our hips too much. And when we don't swing our hips, now we're locking up our pelvis that needs to move and rotate in our movement patterns. So that's an example of like cultural norms or things that happen to us change how we
Right.
move. And
Right.
that becomes our new habit. And we don't one day go, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore unless we are aware of it
Right.
and aware of how we could do it differently. So
Those are some beautiful stories there. Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
think
the,
I think another really good example of that is when if you I don't know if you ever like injured a knee
mhm.
or injured a hip or an ankle or something. And what happens when you're injured is your body compensates and it'll
Yeah.
shift and you'll start actually shifting how your brain fires your muscles, how
Oh.
it uses the muscles. And so now the knee heals or you get it repaired or whatever.
Mhm.
Well, it's not like your brain goes, "Oh, let's go back to the way we used to walk." So now your body's in this new pattern of movement, new firing of muscles, if that makes sense. I can explain
Yep.
that better.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Um and now we have to readjust everything. We have to reteach the brain and body how we want to move in a more efficient, comfortable, easy way. It doesn't just switch. There has to be an awareness to how we activate the muscles differently.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, we've been so many of us have injured something, and
Right.
I had we've all had pains that we've walked around. Kind of reminds me of the story way long back of the day. Dog hurt its paw or hurt a leg or something. Wrapped it
Hmm.
up, bandaged it, the dog limped. And then the bandage came off, it was healed, but the dog still limped. So wrapped the other
Yeah.
leg up with the bandage. So he thought that other foot was injured, so he stopped
Mhm.
limping on the wounded foot that was now healed, and was it's like
You switched
okay,
it over.
shit over. And then the dog was. Then he took the bandage off after a couple of days. The dog was like, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm just gonna get out of here.
But it is kind of like that.
Yeah.
The only challenge for maybe this happens with dogs too, I don't know, but the challenge for humans is that we've healed one injury and now our muscles are firing in a different way and we're movement patterns different, and then it creates another injury. So that's another
Oh
thing
yeah.
that I do with people is,
Yeah.
we're talking about trauma, we're talking about cultural belief systems and all that, but also what's your injury history? Because
Correct.
when you look at the injury history, your body just knows it's been traumatized,
Yeah.
right? It's trauma to the body when you have an
Yeah.
injury
Oh yeah.
or when you have a surgery or anything. It just is. And so, so there's a story there too. I had a client once, I won't go worry about the exact things that she injured, but she injured this, and then a couple months later she injured this, and then a while later she
Oh.
injured this because it was like
Mm.
this, it was just this progression of
Oh
injuries.
boy, poor
Yeah,
thing.
that was,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
felt that. That was a tough
It's
one. But that was her
her
injury
body.
body story.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting to understand our bodies from our story. Trauma, there's all different kinds of trauma, we know that. Um, and
Oh yeah.
and even the families we grow up teach us about how to see our bodies, right?
Right.
Maybe, we're taught not to trust our bodies. We're
Hmm.
taught to that our in religion, we're taught that our bodies are sinful,
I
so
know. I was that religion too. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So, and even if get older and you go, that's not true. There's still that part of you, that little voice in you that still kind of believes it until you really, I mean, I'm not saying you, I'm saying that
Oh,
can
anybody. Yeah.
happen
Everybody.
where
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
still a belief system that maybe we're not even aware of how much it still impacts us.
Exactly.
But trusting the
Exactly.
body is a key part of all this.
Yeah. Well, you do talk a lot, to me, you've talked a lot about how the body is divine. And you started
Mhm.
in the very beginning of the podcast saying everything that we do, what grounds us to the earth, is this physical body. I'd love to hear more of what you have to say regarding the body being divine.
Good. Yeah, I can do that easily here. Sometimes with clients, I can't really go
I
that
know. Yeah.
place.
But you can do
I
it
have to
here.
sort of stay
Yeah.
with the grounding part. But so we are energetic beings in body. We are souls in body, grounded on the planet so
Hmm.
we can experience and feel and sense. But I see us also as channels,
Hmm.
right? But
Yeah.
grounded to the planet and channels to all that is. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. However you see it.
Yeah.
So your channels are coming towards you. I mean, you were talking about when you're channeling, your body is holding energy from a higher perspective kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and actually it's the going in that allows us to connect with our higher self, isn't it? I mean, it's not something that's out there, it's rooted in us in here.
Exactly.
And it's
Yeah.
about how do we open to it? How do we become a clear channel through healing? And I believe, of course, that the more tuned in and embodied we are, the more clear a channel we can be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and that's where the turquoise body actually, that was why I picked that name too, because I love the color turquoise. I love the stone and for what it represents. But it also just sort of had this image of like that we're these turquoise beings that are this bridge and connection between the
Oh,
planet and all that is.
oh, that's
So,
beautiful. I love that. I love that. Oh, it's beautiful to me. I just want to sit here and think about it for a minute. But
excuse me.
I just want to sit here and think about that for a minute. The turquoise body, like, oh. Well, the other would, as you're talking, Claire, being a medium and
Mhm.
working with, I feel through my body the
Absolutely.
messages
Yeah.
that spirit is
Awesome.
bringing to me. So the clairvoyance, the clairaudient, the clairsentient, the clairknowing, it's all through my body. So my relationship with my body um, is very important to me. I kind of abuse it sometimes, but or neglect it. But I do
We all
need to
do. Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I'm feeling through my physicality, and that
Right.
brings
Yeah.
me to
And that's a beautiful thing. And imagine if you can feel even more grounded in it and more
yeah,
like aware of it in a 360-degree way.
right,
So you can,
yeah.
so you're feeling, and maybe you already feel this. I'm not telling you how you feel, but like your consciousness is filling every cell of your body.
Well, isn't
Every,
that? I know that's amazing, and I can't even fathom it, but it is. And your cells are going, I don't think so, dude. but I guess I'm gonna go with it.
No, your cells are cool with it. They're cool with it. They really are.
Yeah, no, I see.
But we talk about, energetics and spirituality as an understanding of how everything that we are is integrated into this physical body. But we also want to be able to experience as embodied souls, and we want to feel like we can be mobile and balanced and trust the body that we're living in.
Yeah.
So I see it as just, I mean, honestly, I think we should be learning from the time we're children what all our muscles are, what our physiology is, and not even just that, but how does it feel?
How does
How
it
does it
feel? Yeah,
feel?
yeah,
Because sensation and movement are the body's
yeah,
expressions.
yeah. We're taught to brush it off. Come on, stand up, brush yourself off, and suck it up, like a cup, and all that stuff. And we're not
Shut up.
from the very beginning. We're not trained to have a relationship with our body, unless you have a
Exactly.
mother like you are, which are fantastic. But
Yeah. See what my girls
but
think about that.
I know, I know. But the
But no, but you're right. I mean, and that's what I talk about when I say, imagine if we lived, people talk now. I mean, I listen to all these different podcasts, your podcast, but people talk about being heart-centered rather than mind-focused. And I agree with them, but to me, being heart-centered means being body-centered because the heart is about feeling, right? And
yes, yeah,
sensing.
yeah, yeah,
And we
yeah,
want to do it with
exactly.
our entire body
Yeah,
from the feet
yeah.
up.
Exactly,
So
exactly. So, also going to correlating intuition with physical,
please, absolutely,
it is the,
absolutely.
for me, it's like I'll be walking into something or moving through something and my feet will get cold. And I'm
Oh,
like, what do
interesting.
my feet tell me? This isn't where you should be going. My feet are literally cold. I'm like, don't make a commitment here. Or I'll
I love
feel
that
something,
awareness.
yeah. Or I'll feel something. I talk this is kind of physical too, but I'll talk to my students. What does it taste like? What does this interaction taste like?
I love
And
it.
what does this interaction smell like? And in mediumship, we're taught, the to ask spirit for senses, like, oh, I can smell cookies, or I can taste a certain spice, and it goes there. But I feel like it goes way, way far. Your body can really tell you what the real deal is. I think our bodies know the truth of somebody else. It's like animals when they know the person who's going to snuggle up to them and be kind to them, or the person who's going to be mean to them, and they
Absolutely.
avoid them. And I feel like we have those same
We definitely have
something
those
within
intuitive
ourselves.
abilities. The challenge is that the culture, the family, everything we've learned and being mind-centered, being kind of from our neck
Yeah,
up, it takes us away from those
it
intuitive
does.
abilities, right? Because
It does.
intuition really lives in the body.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
sensing really lives in the
Yeah.
body. So one thing that I think is important is that we do tend to be very comfortable from like the neck up or the chest up. And we don't always feel comfortable being in our legs or our pelvis, which is basically our
Yeah.
root chakra into our sacral chakra, right? And that's really what grounds us to the planet and also grounds us in our creativity,
It
moving up
does.
into personal power
Yeah.
and all that. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just feel like that part of our body gets neglected.
Oh,
And
yeah.
sometimes it makes
Yeah.
it hard for people to tap into their awareness there.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, that actually, uh, we talked about that a lot about in terms of me being intuitive and being feeling, but being in front of computer or screen
Hmm.
and losing my connection. And so many times I've been told, not necessarily by you, but go take your shoes and socks off and stand in the grass. And I'm like, it's cold outside. But, but
So, and I believe in that as well, but I feel like there's needs to be more to it than that. And once you have an understanding of how to be in all the muscles of your body, you can use them in any way, even when you're walking in the grass.
mhm,
But
mhm.
for when I have people work in their feet, because it really helps with balance a lot. I always say to people, if your feet are connected to the ground, you're not going to fall. And it's a little bit obnoxious of me to say it that way, but it's true, right? If our feet are connected to the ground, we're not going to fall. Um, so what I have people do comes from the work of Trager, Dr. Trager. And I think his name was Milton. And it was in one of the workshops I went to that I learned this, and it's basically just standing, and I may have done it with you, and it's you're shifting the weight in your feet.
Yes,
So
you
you
did.
shift into your heels, you shift into the balls of your toes, you go side to side. And what you're doing is you're finding basically the footprint, and but it's a sensation footprint. You're not just thinking your feet, you're feeling your
Feeling
feet.
your feet.
And so,
Yeah.
and that's what walking in the grass does, except you're feeling like your feet are cold. But I want you to feel your feet on the earth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and what is the sensation difference as you in the weight shift?
Yeah, we did do that. We did do walking and feeling your feet. How does it feel, foot feel connecting to the surface, the ground?
Right.
How does, yeah.
And
It
I don't
was,
know if you remember, but when I've done this with people, I have them walk and then we do these foot grounding rotations, I call them. Go really slowly so you really feel like you're feeling every part of your foot, like you're doing, going around the perimeter of each foot. And then you go in the other direction, which is kind of interesting because sometimes going the other direction is harder. And that's just about how our brain is wired,
yeah.
which is why it's really good to do both directions. It's good for your brain.
Yeah, I remember going
And
a little
then,
bit nuts with that. Yeah, like what?
yeah,
Yeah.
and then you walk again. And I would say, I don't know if I've ever had anybody not feel the difference, but I don't like to tell people it's going to feel like, because I want people to have their own experience, but basically you feel more connected to the ground. So, it feels,
Oh, yeah.
that's basically what happens, but you're sensing it, you're not thinking it.
That
It's
was
different.
huge. That was a big shift for me.
Yeah.
Is sense it,
Oh,
feel it,
cool.
don't think about it. And of course, I
Feeling, not thinking.
forgotten. I think I need to go back and practice a few more things. But yeah, but
Well, I mean,
yeah,
it is a practice, you don't
yeah.
have to do it. I mean, I stand in the grocery store and sometimes do it because, you know, grocery stores are incredibly overstimulating to my nervous system. So I'm like, I'm gonna just ground here.
Yeah, just rocking back and
And so
forth and
I'll
sideways, and you're like, oh, that sale on French fries wasn't really worth it. But yeah, but
I'm connected to the floor now. It's okay. I'm not
it's
gonna fly
okay,
away.
right? Exactly, exactly. Oh my gosh, I have to sometimes put headphones in. The grocery store is so overstimulated. I'll put headphones in and listen to something that's calming, so I
Yeah,
could be in the grocery store without going.
right.
And
I
being
know.
an empath, I feel everybody's moods.
Oh,
I
I
feel
know.
everybody's huzzah,
I
how they're
don't like
doing.
going when there's a lot of people in there.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I want to go. I want to leave now. I want to get out of here.
yeah,
So
yeah,
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 I agree with you.
yeah,
That's a good idea
yeah.
to wear something in the ears.
Headphones. Good idea to ground too. Um, so another comment that you make is being an observer of yourself. What does it feel like to exist from the inside out?
Yeah.
Talk a
It's
little bit
when
about
I
that.
first started playing with that, when I go for walks, it was actually kind of interesting for me, but it's we get so pulled out of ourselves. We get pulled out by the world, by politics, and it's like we leave our body behind
Oh
almost.
my God,
And so what
yes.
does it feel like to really ground and really embody our consciousness into our whole body and see the world from that perspective? It's more of a sitting back rather
Yeah.
than getting pulled
Pulled
forward.
forward. Yeah, actually um, have been, so much is going on. And I, when I'm working with people, they equate their well-being with the well-being of what's happening in the outer world. And some of my work has been, well, with me personally, but with my clients, is the outside world has nothing to do with you. How are you doing in here? And
Right.
I feel that what you're saying is so important. If you are working with your body to go inside, I love that. What are some good exercises or good things to remind you to do that?
The foot grounding really helps. I a lot of times just say to people, I just want you to lay on your yoga mat and just feel the weight of your body on the floor.
Yeah.
And then maybe do some movements nice and slow that feel good to you. And if people go to my website, and in my newsletter, sometimes I share some of these movements. So, because it's kind of hard for me to show you now,
Yeah.
but it's about getting back into feeling your physical self, dropping back down
Yeah.
in. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
this is a good reason for everyone to go to the turquoisebody.com and get on her newsletter so you get these little hints and tips
Good.
I have been feeling intuitively that 2026 is going to be a tumultuous year on the outside.
There's gonna be a lot happening. Yeah, I agree.
And these things, these movements, these things, bring yourself inside, because we have this amazing opportunity to dream a new world into being, but we can't dream it if we're not connected to our own selves.
I
And our
completely agree.
body, can just give us so much wisdom. um I,
Well, our body grounds us here, right?
yeah,
If we get caught
yeah,
in our thoughts and get pulled out, now we're no longer grounded in the moment. You know, it's a tough situation right now, but it's about being grounded and present and in the moment, and then you be the observer of it. And if there's something you can do to offer to help, go ahead if that feels right to you, you know? Um, and because when we get pulled out into fear. And we
yeah.
really have to stay in love. And I have to remind myself, I'm not saying I'm perfect at this by any
Oh God,
means.
nobody is, but you've given
Nobody
us
is.
some
We're
tools to help.
human.
Yeah, we're
We're
absolutely
human.
human. Yeah.
But it's like, how can we come back here? Because we need to generate more love. Energy.
Mhm.
I say this to my clients that aren't really in this world that you and I are in. I say to them, I want you to understand something. Energy is real. Whether you believe it or not, I'm going to tell you right now, it's
Energy,
real. So
it's
let's
real.
go to the
Yeah,
love.
yeah,
And I don't mean like, sicky sweet Hallmark love. I mean, come in and find that sense of like deep love, faith
yeah,
for your family, for your community, whatever it is, for yourself. And let's generate more of that, right?
yeah. I agree with that, because I also take it another step is when we're in love, when we're standing in that divine love,
Right.
which
Yes.
is unconditional, but it's not transactional.
Right.
And when we stand in that love, we go straight into our creativity. We
Absolutely.
feel totally safe, and ideas come out, actions come out that, "Well, I didn't know I could do that, or I was gonna even could do that." And we are able to create that new world that we're talking about creating, or creating I don't want to say create a new world, because the world's already here, but creating a relationship to what's healthy in the world. And I don't want to go too highfalutin there, but your
Well,
body
yeah, a
has
lot of
that
people are
connection.
talking about that new world stuff, and
Yeah,
it's not that I mean, I totally agree with it in that
yeah,
we need to move into that where we're no longer about fear, we're about love. But,
right.
that's definitely a process. But
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
so those more of us that are willing to take that time to be grounded
right.
and in the moment can do that.
Yeah,
We can add to that collective consciousness
yeah.
of love and healing and community and all that kind of
Community, and
stuff.
yeah, and I'm gonna go into a little bit. I did have a question popped in for
A
you.
question popped in? Oh,
And
cool.
there, as we get older, or ill, or whatever, there's neuropathy that happens. And sometimes circulation is it sometimes it's from a diabetic condition, and sometimes it's just from getting old.
Okay.
um so how would you work with somebody who's has that neuropathy coming? I know you want to ground them, you want to feel their feet, but what would your advice be?
So neuropathy in the feet and yeah,
um
probably.
yeah, feet mostly.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's about diabetes, then of course they're working with their doctor
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
When it comes to the feet, I always say to people, um, I want you to massage your own feet. I want you to find a connection with your feet because we have such challenges with our feet, don't we?
Oh yeah,
We have
yeah, yeah, yeah,
in general, a lot of people have a discomfort with their feet. I'm not saying that this person who asked the question does, but that
yeah,
really being able to connect with massage, get some motion in there. There are some Feldenkrais movements that you can do too to release the feet. Um, it's kind of
well,
hard
yeah,
to do it here, but put my foot up here and show you. I think it's really about getting getting movement and flow back into your feet.
mhm,
And that might be, I don't know what this person does. I mean, it could be about
right,
walking, it could be about getting on a bike and pedaling, just moving the body to get the blood flowing. It could be that as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. Um, I do talk to people. This isn't this specific person who have it in their hands,
Hmm.
and
Movement,
or
motion is a.
somebody, and then also people who have had spinal cord injuries,
Hmm.
and so maybe it could go, whatever. You're
Spinal cord injuries. Yeah.
um
Um,
or
that's getting.
spinal. I don't mean spinal cord injuries. I mean your back hurts and you have surgery on your back. Let's just not meet. Let's just
Oh, okay. So,
yeah.
so one reason why I mean, I can give some answers, but it's hard to not know what the specific
Right.
thing is and what
Yeah.
that specific person is doing and or not doing, or, so I mean, strengthening the back is about strengthening the big upper muscles of the back, but also strengthening your core. Your
Yeah.
core is, I consider the core the whole torso, but strengthening the abdominal muscles is a key part of
Yeah.
supporting the back because those muscles in between your ribs and your pelvis actually, there's your ab muscles, but then they wrap around and connect to some muscles in the back, so it's kind of
Yeah.
like a corset around your torso. So doing things like, see, I don't want to recommend anything because I don't know
No,
what this
don't. Yeah,
person's
it's just
at.
in general,
Just
you
in
know.
general,
Yeah.
I mean, then
Yeah.
also gentle stretching. And again, I
Right.
don't want to recommend when I don't know what this person's specifically going through, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's
In general, as we age and things just don't work the way they used to, keeping them moving and
keeping them moving. Yes.
is get a hold of Deb at
The turquoisebody.com.
turquoisebody.com and
Yeah.
see if there's some conversation that would help, or maybe some reading, or maybe some just gentle. But you can't. I know you can't give medical advice ever on
No,
these
no.
situations, but the gentle movement.
Gentle, mindful movement so that when somebody comes to me and they're in some kind of pain, I always say to them, let's find what feels good first. So maybe laying on the floor with your knees, hugging your knees to your chest feels really good. Let's start there. So I always start people with what feels good. And then what are some small, slow movements that we can do that feel good? And if you go too far, does that start to hurt? Okay,
Yeah,
make it
yeah,
smaller.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what people sometimes don't understand or they forget about the body is that our body will respond more in a better way if we make the movement small, slow, and easy.
Hmm.
And then you don't do it forever. You do that, and then your body goes, oh, okay, I can do a little bit more. Oh, I can do a little bit more. But
Yeah.
you have to start off with that mindful, slow, honoring where your body's at, because if your body's hurting you, if it's hurting, it's giving you information.
Hmm.
It's not bad. It's not something to be angry with. It's just giving you information and it wants to be. I always say to people, our body is like the 5-year-old kid and our brain is like the adult. So our body is the 5-year-old kid that goes, I want ice cream, I want ice cream, and the adult is like, now you settle down, you quiet down and sit in that chair. Our body just wants to feel good.
Hmm.
Our mind is just so programmed with all of our belief systems and everything about
Hmm.
what's good and what's not good. But if you really can get quiet and listen to your body.
Does that mean I can have ice cream after this?
Yes, you can.
No. But yeah, no, I know what you're
It's all
saying.
about moderation, woman.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so you talk on the importance of consciousness, and you mentioned this a couple times throughout the podcast, is bringing yourself fully into your body. But then you're talking about connecting to your higher self and bringing the higher self fully into your body. And
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit more.
Well, I think that the more we work through our healing, the more grounded and embodied we can get ourselves, the more we can open ourselves to basically all that we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make a connection with that because now we're kind of creating more of a clear channel. If we've got, things that are kind of bubbling inside us that we haven't completely transformed yet, that can kind of get in the way. Would you agree?
Mhm. I think so. Yeah, I do. I was thinking a couple of thoughts that yes,
Please.
when I see people are distracted with their health or distracted with forcing
Absolutely.
themselves into a situation they're not comfortable with, they're not their strongest in their creativity or their intuition.
Right.
but I also know of people who work with constant pain in their bodies who are amazing intuitives. And so I've always wondered about that. I know this person is constantly has this
I'm
neck or
sorry.
back pain or this other thing, but then they just go off and they're connected. So with spirit and their higher power, and they bring incredible messages. And I don't want to shortchange anybody who has chronic pain or has chronic
Oh, of
difficulties.
course not. Of course
You
not.
do this amazing, but I wonder what's going on there, because I think they must have they accepted that this is where they are, this is where they're not fighting it anymore, and they're just have they cut themselves off at the head? They're just going to spirit. I've
Yeah,
always
or
wondered.
they, I
Yeah.
think a lot of times people in chronic pain learn to disconnect from the pain,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I think it was even, I think there are some Buddhist people that actually talk about, I can't think of her name right now, I'm sorry, but they talk about actually allowing yourself to go into it so you can learn from it. But
Yeah.
that's not fair for me to say. I'm not experiencing chronic pain right now. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I always am very careful with that. I still would say to that person in chronic pain, though, I think maybe we're talking about allowing our higher self connection when we're in pain, is what you were talking
We
about.
get
But
weird because we have the mind body connection, and it's fluid,
right,
and it's healthy, and then that helps your connection and you become a more pure
absolutely.
channel.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I just want to also say that you could be that pure channel with but maybe your relationship with your body when it's in pain. Um, how do you manage that? Can you don't cut yourself off with from I can't make a higher.
and I think well, first of all, people I'm not going to promise to be a miracle worker, but I've
No,
seen people that, and we can't do that, and I would never do that, but I've seen people that have a lot of pain, but when they learn to slow down and do movements in a
right.
different way,
Yeah.
and I would recommend for people that are in chronic pain, even if you're not reaching out to me, that's okay. If you start looking into Feldenkrais and seeing what they have to offer, because I think that it could be really helpful for people that are in chronic pain.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes the medical community, though they do amazingly good things for us, and I'm really grateful, like, to them, I think sometimes everything's based on protocols and medicines and surgeries, and
Absolutely.
that we've lost sight of some of our innate
Hmm.
abilities to heal. And I know I don't mean to sound cold for somebody who's having a challenge with chronic pain, because I don't mean that at all, but I do think that sometimes, you know, maybe Feldenkrais could be helpful to them.
I give it a shot. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. I feel like what you're saying, it's all about your relationship with your body, no matter what,
I agree. Yes,
no matter what the
absolutely.
relationship is with your body. And
Yeah.
speaking a little bit from watching my mom, 17 years paraplegic, and yeah, there's a lot of health issues there, but being in touch with her body and accepting it the way way it is, well, she's
Hmm.
passed,
Hmm.
um, could go a long way,
It
or
could,
having
because
that, yeah.
we all have a certain capability level.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so within our capabilities, what can we do to connect? Because we all want to be able to move, because that's
absolutely.
how we function in life.
Yeah,
So what is it that we can do within our capabilities to
yeah,
function in a way that feels actually good to us and
absolutely.
comfortable?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah. I mean, I know sometimes this can become a sensitive subject. I think that what I'm seeing and the people I work with are just people that are just very mind centered
yes,
and
yeah,
not body centered.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I know that there's also going to be other situations where
yeah.
maybe what I'm saying isn't. I, s- I still believe in the slow, mindful movements
Mindful,
and seeing where you can
gentle,
get to.
moving,
Yeah.
feeling grace. Yeah,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
mean, I've seen situations where people, I mean, it's happened with one of my students in class a couple of weeks ago. And this is I mean, this is a much more simplistic than what we've been talking about, but I don't know, her dog hit her knee or something, and she had a bone bruise. And so she had been going to physical therapy for her knee. Her knee was bothering her. And um, so now she knows that she has something wrong with her knee, right? That's in her head. And then in class, we were doing a movement and she said, that's bothering my knee. And this is a very simple solution. So I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but I have these hand rollers. And I took the hand roller and I rolled on the side of her leg, which is her iliotibial band, and I rolled on her quad because I know that knees can hurt when muscles are tight. And her knee didn't hurt anymore. So now I'm not saying that that's the solution for everybody. I'm just saying that sometimes, and I'm not talking about chronic pain, I'm just saying sometimes people can have pain in their body and they're pretty sure there's something that's really bad happening, and hopefully they go get checked so they can know. And the doctor will say you have arthritis because that's what they always say. And then,
They do that. They really do. Yeah.
they say it all the
Yeah.
time. But what I always want people to understand is now somebody's planted that in your head. That doesn't mean that everything has to do with that injury. That your body still has muscle and fascia and tissue and can still move in
Yeah.
whatever its capability is. So let's work within that range and
Right.
let's find your comfort within that range if
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful. Right. Right. Right.
yeah.
I I was this is years ago, and I'm not I just there was a woman we were doing just energy work and
Hmm.
movement. Energy work
Yeah.
about how does it feel in your body. Not we
Right,
nobody
right,
was
right.
as smart as you were, but she had I mean, but she had multiple MS
Okay.
and it had been moving along, and she had been the year before active. This year coming was
Yeah.
the wheelchair was there, and she moved through to a mat on the floor where the music was playing and the energy was working. And she was, this beautiful movement came out of her body that was
Oh,
phenomenal.
cool. Oh,
And she
cool.
connected to the energy and she connected to her physicality. And she was still limited. But I just watched it with total amazement. Um, and
That's
I just wanted to
beautiful.
tell you that story to say
Yeah.
what it's like the energetics were.
I mean, when you're laying down, was she laying down on a mat?
She for safety laid down on the mat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because now you're not dealing with gravity.
right.
A lot of the work through the Feldenkrais method is laying down on a mat because his
Yeah,
thinking was now you're not dealing with gravity. Now you can just work your nervous system in your body. So
yeah,
that's actually was a really healthy, healing thing for her to do. The
yeah.
problem is that no one necessarily slow down the degeneration. But I will say, just as an
Yeah.
aside, that they're doing really cool stem cell research. And I had a client and I've had a client with MS, and she got fortunately involved in a stem cell research study.
Oh,
And I wasn't working with her anymore, but I saw her on Facebook and she was playing golf. And
no
she was
way.
somebody who was having
Wow.
trouble walking a
Yeah,
straight line. So
yeah,
there are some really cool medical things happening. Um, but I think what we're also talking about that hopefully we're going to move into a world, our new world, where people are more body centered and
hmm,
understanding starting that I would love to see that starting at a younger age even, so that it's not like we wait until we're in pain and then we
you do something about it. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, though when we're in pain our body's talking to us and we need to do something about it, but
yeah,
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 that's
yeah,
beautiful that you had her do that. I love that.
yeah. I just it blew me right away. And when you talk to me about what you're doing, she pops into my head every once in a while, saying,
Yeah,
"There's that was nobody was calling it spiritual healing. It just was moving the energy, allowing it to move through you differently."
but your body is spiritual, your body is
Exactly.
energy, your
Energy.
body I had this I don't know if I'm going off topic a little, but I had this
Oh, stay,
vision
do it.
one
Yeah.
time when I was writing and I was like doing some more reading on fascia because from the time I was in school learning about fascia to now, we know so much more about it than and so
Really?
I was doing a bunch of reading on it and I was sitting with my journal and I just closed my eyes and I literally had this vision of being like in the fascia, like this whole network of
Wow.
like just all around me. And I'm like, we are five dimensional. We already are. We already are energy.
Wow.
We already
We
are
already are.
all
Yeah.
these
We
things. It's
are
just that
already.
we are up here looking in, going, oh, I'm solid.
Yeah.
But real, and people talk about that, right? That when you go microscopically, we actually we're fluid,
Well, that's a thing. It's a different the scientific. There's the oh my gosh, why I can't I create it's the physical science. There's another word for that versus the energy science.
I know we need to bring them together, but that's okay.
Yeah. So the energy science explains all the things that the physical science can't explain.
Oh yeah.
And
So when they work together, it's
it's
beautiful. Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the and then what you get is what looks like miracles, but it's actually a reality. Yes, this can happen if you approach it from an energetic point of view. If you
Right.
and then energy equals spirit equals divine, and then you get. We don't want to introduce religion into this, but the energy of spirit, the energy of creation
Right.
that
Right.
runs through. It's always. It's not coming all of a sudden. It's going to show up in your body. It's here
Right.
inside of you.
Right.
But I that's why I love your work so much is your opening up the exploration of what you already have from a different point
Exactly.
of view, not
Exactly.
forcing something. Yeah.
I feel like and you can tell me if you disagree, and that's absolutely fine, but I feel like even in the world of healing, we give lip service to being embodied, but we sort of talk about the soul and spirit as if they're up here and the body's just this vehicle we're
I
running
so
around in while we're
agree
here.
with that. I
Yeah,
totally
it's
am
like
with you on
no,
that.
it's all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Like and the more we can feel fluid in our body, the more we can, I always have this image in my head that if we have like places of constriction in our body, then there's going to be constriction in our energy in those places. That doesn't mean you can't have spirit flow through you, but there's still going to be constriction, let's say, in our light body. Now, I'm talking about things I believe. I don't have any proof, but if we imagine our light body is, people talk about the light body, right? I always imagine that they're connected with all the meridians, but we want that energy to flow through our whole body
Hmm.
if it can,
Yeah.
if we have the
Well,
capability and the
yeah.
access.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, and maybe I'm off the wall here, is that even if something is constricted in your body, the energy can still flow through it, even though the body's not quite responding it to it.
It probably, yeah, I just think that it would, I think it would flow better. I mean, it can flow
Yeah,
around those areas too.
yeah,
I would think it would flow better if there wasn't constriction there.
I agree. Yeah,
I can't prove it.
yeah,
I can't prove it. It's just what kind of comes to me.
yeah.
I mean, we know that stress and emotion constrict fascia
Oh,
and tissue,
yeah, yeah.
right? And emotion is energy. So I that doesn't, but I'm not saying that somebody who's in pain or has some constrictions can't also have their connection to spirit. I'm not saying that at all.
No, no,
I'm
no.
just talking about getting us even more embodied and more
Yeah,
grounded in general
and what you have, what's
with
there.
what you
Yeah,
have within your
yeah,
capabilities. We're all here
yeah.
for our human experience. So,
Exactly. Yeah, and the human experience takes us to the soul experience where the soul wants to know what's going on in the body. They're not. I love what you said. They're not separate, and they're within
no,
each other. They're
the
yeah,
thing is our soul can't feel. So the soul's embodied so we can feel and so we can sense
exactly.
and so
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
experience.
yeah.
But it's not so that we go do all this and then go, okay, by the way, did you get this?
No, it's right there. He's doing it with you.
It's like it's all
Yeah,
integrated. It's just like our brain and body are always integrated. I mean, that's a physiological fact. It's like there's always, you got motor neurons and sensory neurons, and it's this loop going through your body. And I guess I sort of see that too. It's like it's all together, it's all
yeah,
integrated.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
So maybe it's not that there's a constriction. Let's think about it this way. The more awareness we have within our bodies, the more we can create flow in our bodies, and the more we can be aware of how the energy flows through our bodies.
I think so. I like that.
Maybe that's a
I like
better way
that.
of saying
Yeah,
it.
that's a good way of saying that. Absolutely. Um, and what proves this to me, you said I can't prove it. I said, you can prove it. It's kind of when life leaves something, um, when that life spark leaves something,
When,
when somebody passes.
Oh, okay. When somebody
Yeah, an
passes, yeah.
animal, a
Right.
plant, when
And
it
then the
passes,
body's no longer,
it's the same cells, it's the same thing, but the energy's not flowing through it anymore. Like
right.
if somebody's alive, but they're having the energy is still flowing through a paralyzed limb because the blood's still flowing, the energy still, it just can't function the way that it used to.
Right, 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 right.
But if the limb was dead, it would be I don't know where I'm going with this. It would be a totally different story. But
Well, what's interesting about the nervous system, I don't know if this is what you're getting at, but like, there's stories about people, they lose a limb and they still have a sense of
right,
that
yeah,
arm.
yeah,
But that's also about the nervous system, probably too.
yeah.
So,
The nervous system. I always wondered if that was the energy too. I just said, I wonder if they're separate. I wonder are they the same thing, or we just what are we talking about here? The nervous system can feel something that's not there. Energetically, is that still there? Is that limb still there? I don't know.
or
I
the
don't know how to
aura of
measure it.
yeah,
The
like the
aura of
light
the
body of the
yeah,
limb is still there. I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't know.
Well,
But
this is like my vision of going inside the fascia and seeing the five dimensionality of who we
yeah,
are. It's like I
yeah.
can't prove it. I just had this vision. It's
Yeah,
like
I
so
know, I
so
know.
but what I can prove is that movement really makes people feel better if it's the right kinds of movement for them.
Yeah,
And slow, easy, and small is a really important way to start, especially if you have pain or especially chronic pain, discomfort. It's like what movement feels good? What stillness feels good? What feels good? Because if you never feel, we're talking about chronic pain again or stiffness, if you never feel good, that just adds on to it, right? But if you can find those moments of relief,
yeah,
and I'm not talking about with medicine, I'm talking, and which is good too, because I don't want people to have
yeah,
chronic pain. But if you can find the position or that movement
yeah.
that feels good, now
That's
maybe you can slowly build onto
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So,
Maybe the medicine will help. The modern medicine will help, but the relationship to yourself cannot. The medicine can't replace that. You still have to have that
no,
relationship
the
within your
medicine's a
body.
tool.
This is again using. Sorry, mom. My mom is an example. When she woke up paralyzed, she struggled with her relationship with her body. She was
I was
very
angry.
angry, and the things that she needed to do were strenuous and hard, and the anger got in the way. Where I'm going with this is her relationship, and oftentimes things happen to our bodies, maybe not as dramatic as paralysis, but when our relationship changes with our body, changes, um, chronic pain sets in, really bad arthritis, or whatever it is, the um, the relationship to the body can be there can still be healing there. There can still
There
be
can still be some healing there. It's just not about, we don't know what that healing would look like for that person. That's an individual experience. But also if you are mad at your body, you hate your body, you're angry with your body, and then you disconnect more and more and more, you're
yeah,
getting farther away from that
away from
relationship and that opportunity to find healing moments
yeah,
and healing opportunities.
yeah, and
That's,
that's where the challenge is
oh, it's a big challenge. Yeah,
to
absolutely.
stay in relationship to your physicality, whatever
Hmm.
whatever it is.
Well, and
And
then think about all the people that don't have physical ailments, that don't have
oh my
paralysis,
God,
that don't have chronic
but
pain,
don't have a relationship with their
and
bodies.
don't have a relationship with their body. So we're talking about a lot of people. We're talking about a high percentage of people.
People, yeah, I
So
agree.
so it this is true. This is for across the board. It doesn't mean that this is every story is going to be different, but we have so many people that are just so disconnected from themselves
Yeah,
and hate their bodies and don't trust their
I know.
bodies.
And now, and I'm really hoping that this message helps those
I,
everyone. I mean, but helps those say, "Hey, wait a minute, I got to get a handle on this." Um, I I don't know what my left foot or my right shoulder are telling me, and I think I better find out.
well, and also it's that's why I say, what if we were more body-centered beings? I mean, then this would become a priority to us. It would become a priority to us to take time every day to connect with our body and do some gentle stretching, do some gentle movement, go for a walk in the grass. But it's almost like we have to, it's not built into our
No,
culture.
it's not. Yeah.
The culture is, okay, go to the gym, go to the
Well,
class.
high level athletics is built into our culture, and many people don't even know how they would even get to that place.
Oh yeah, I
And so
know.
they don't, but let's talk about it on a different level. Yeah.
Well, my dream is, what if we could just teach people how to activate their muscles, how to figure out how movements work the different muscles, and find actual pleasure and joy in that,
Mm,
and then get
yeah,
stronger because you're doing that.
exactly.
Because the goal of fitness is how many reps can you do, how much weight can you push, and did you do all your sets on the machines? That's fitness. I've been in that world for a long time.
And
So,
that's not, you said
and
that.
and what if our perspective was, how does my body want to move? How do my muscles work? What does it feel like when I contract and lengthen, contract and lengthen? What does it feel like when I use my back muscles? If we came from the perspective of what our body wanted to do, hey, I feel like dancing now, whatever. And then in that process, we became stronger, we became more fit, but our perspective was from what is right for the body
Yeah. Your individual body. Yeah.
or individual body based on
Yeah.
your capabilities.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Very
And
helpful. And in
yeah, and
positivity, creativity and clarity
yeah,
would be there with you.
right. I mean, I think we have it all figured out, Nance. I don't know.
Okay, that's it. We're gonna let's get some retreats going and let's go someplace warm and get
Well,
them
we do.
on.
I know that person asked about her feet and about blood flow and stuff. And I don't know if we answered her question. I hope we did, but really just finding comfortable movements and not being afraid to actually touch your feet and move them and
Yeah,
massage them and get to know them. And, and again, and there are some Feldenkrais things too that can be helpful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
just I was just thinking back to that was the one
yeah,
question we got. I hope I answered it enough for her.
yeah. It's a complicated case, I believe, but there's some back problems where the reach isn't. I can't
Oh,
get my hands
yeah.
to my feet, kind of thing going on. But I was kind of thinking, well, what if you just felt your feet on, I don't know, how could, if they can't reach their feet to massage their feet with their
Oh, I
hands,
understand what you're saying.
what
Gotcha,
can they
gotcha.
do?
Um, they can do the foot grounding. They can roll their foot on a tennis ball. There's flexing and pointing the toes, like just move the feet around. The feet like to move sideways. They like to move, how do your feet want to move?
Hmm. Yeah.
Right? That sounds, I mean, I mean, our body's telling us something. It's saying, I don't have flow here. So, okay, so what can we do to create more flow for you?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
Right. I agree. I don't know what the answer with that
I
person
know
would have to
it's so what
explore
happens when
that.
I work
Yeah.
one-on-one with people is that we try things out. And then if that doesn't work, we try something else out. It's hard to
Yeah.
answer a question when I don't know the whole story around.
Exactly.
But
I understand.
but motion is lotion and movement creates circulation. And as long as it feels safe and comfortable and easy, like I don't want it to feel like, oh, I'm gonna fall over if I do this.
No, don't keep it safe. Yeah. No, yeah.
I'm
But
falling over.
yeah, but there's a all good points.
Yeah,
And hopefully, people can who have this problem and something similar can walk away and say, okay, how can I approach this?
yeah,
And
yeah,
something a little different than when I'm thinking about it, or
yeah.
asking more questions or exploring. But Felden, Feldenkrais.
Krais. Yeah,
Something like that.
he died in the mid 80s. So there was this period of time, like in the, I might have the wrong years, but like the 50s or 60s, where a lot of these, there was Alexander technique and Trager and Feldenkrais and Gestalt, I think. I don't know if I have the right age, the right years, but it just seems like they were really there's a lot of that stuff going on.
Mhm.
And though some people still do it, it doesn't feel like it caught on, which really is interesting to me. And not to get political here, but I think we have such a power over patriarchal society we're in that it's all about
Yeah.
beat, beat, beat. It's not
Yeah.
about lifting up and
Yeah.
listening to, and that's where we need to move to.
Yeah. We'll keep speaking up about that, with your
Yeah,
teach your peeps, teach your students.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why I was excited to have you on here because you talk
Thank
about it
you.
so differently.
Huh?
And you talk about physical shape, physical therapy, physical fitness in such a different way that I feel it's more accessible to
I hope so.
but it needs to just got to get it out there more and more.
I I know I need to get
Yeah.
better on social media.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
But thank
Well,
you, Nance. This was awesome.
thank you so much for coming on. We do have to kind of wrap things up, but I want to also repeat again that you can reach Dr. Deb Arthur at theturquoisebody.com. You can email her directly, deb@theturquoisebody.com. I'm sure that her social media will show up in the next few months, but
Yeah, I'm
in the
working on
meantime, just stick to the website
it.
and
And I have a newsletter too.
get on that newsletter.
Yeah.
And well, I just want to thank everybody who are listening into this episode, and also to remember that angelscapes.net is where you could reach me, Nancy, at angelscapes.net, and I'm also on Facebook. Direct message me if you want any more information on this and other things that we've talked about. And remember that you have the power within you, and everyone that I bring on this podcast is available, so don't be shy. And I want you to challenge yourself to live a soul powered life in your physical body. So stay safe, keep it real, and love yourself. Stay in love. And that's all for now. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.